This just in, according to one random user on Reddit, 5 minutes is actually the optimal time control for every game of chess, and every single chess game should be a 5-minute game, even the World Championship itself. It should be a 5-minute game of blitz. So, how could one random man on the internet be wrong? Let's test out the 5-minute pool. Going up against Sparky Mobile. And let's see what we're gonna get. Well, come on, man. You know what time it is. It's Elephant Gambit time. Never forget. And against this, I'm going to be playing knight to f6. And if you take my other pawn, I'm going to be taking here with a queen. And this is one of the trickiest lines in all of chess. Knight to c6 to challenge this active knight. If bishop to c4, you lose with white. This is the first test. So most opponents here actually decide to take on c6 with the knight. And my queen just maintains this very active diagonal, making it very difficult for this bishop to move. And in most cases, when this bishop moves off this diagonal, I can take on g2, attacking a rook, and I get a very good position as black. But yet, you see it time in and time out. Yes, all right. We get to play for this one. Very common trap that a lot of people seem to stumble into. And the opponent took some time. They obviously realized that they can go in for this. This is white's last chance to bail out, play queen f3 and just accept a very bad position. But if you go for this, I'm now able to take this knight. And usually this is a very long, beautiful line that I've won with many, many times. I take the bishop, you take here. I play bishop to g4, attacking the queen. Most common move here for white is queen to d4. This one, I would say, is not up there in terms of popularity. I'm gonna guess, without too much thought, it's because I can play queen takes queen. I'm not sure. I've never faced that one before, but another 11-move win with the Elephant Gambit. We will check this with the engine, even though we've been here a million times. But if you're new to the channel, you're going to want to learn the Elephant Gambit. Never forget about how to play these tricky lines. And people are like, hey man, can you please play something that's not the Elephant Gambit? And to you I say, no, it keeps working and this is my life, okay? I usually play gambits until they stop working and then I move on. But this one, nobody is ever ready for it. So if you do play e5 and d5 against e4 and knight f3, here is a really quick way that you can win the game of chess. Because after they take, no matter what they take, here's the beauty of it. They can take this knight, this pawn, they can take this pawn, doesn't really matter. We are bringing out our knight to f6 no matter what they take. And when they take the other thing, we take with our queen and we get to this position. And kind of the interesting thing here is that I think the lower rated you are, at least from the comments that I've heard from you guys, you're more likely to run into something like knight to f3. We are attacking the knight after all. Really strong players might come up with queen to e2, which is also given by Stockfish as a really strong move. But d4 is, for whatever reason, I guess if you're around the 2400 level on Lichess, this is what you find. Every single game, every single player is playing this move. And we will turn the engine on now. At this point, it's a little bit dubious. I'm down a pawn, so it is +1. I play knight to c6 in order to challenge this knight. And one of the things about this move is that it looks like it is immediately inviting this bishop to c4. So this is the line that we're going to deep dive into today. And you can see that this is already a little bit of a mistake. It's gone from +1 to -1 because whenever this bishop moves, we are able to take this g-pawn. What else also happens is, you've seen it. If you need to go back, make sure you watch a lot of the other videos on this channel. If you haven't seen all of this, most people are taking, and there's a bunch of tricks and traps in those lines as well. But today we're going to stay focused on this one, and I believe it's about 20% of the time. Yeah, this is still true. Bishop to c4 is what was played. So you can win like a fifth of your games by studying this particular pattern. Now, the thing is that you can take here on g2, and almost everybody, or at least 75% of the time, people are going to go in for this. And when they saw this from a distance, they were like, yo, I'm going to do this because I'm going to be able to take his f7 pawn and I'm going to be on the attack. And they fail to see how deep and treacherous our attack actually is. Now, this is their last opportunity to be like, oops, I made a mistake. Play queen to f3, let you take this, swap this queen off, and just get a very bad position. Something like bishop to g4 is totally fine. You've gotten your pawn back, your structure makes sense. You've you're up a lot of development. This is just simply very good for black. But I've never seen anybody just be like, whoops, okay, I gotta bail out. Having said A, most players are going to say B, and this was the point of their attack. But now you can play king to e7, bong clouding the king, and when this rook moves, which is the most common way of continuing, you take on e5. They take back with the pawn, you take the bishop, and after they take this knight, they might still think that they're doing totally fine, because after all, it's only a pawn. They're up an entire pawn, okay, fantastic, and they might not see your brilliant attack, but the attack goes bishop to g4, attacking the queen. And here is where opponents most commonly go to d4. Queen d3 is an alternative, but it's met in exactly the same way. And now watch how fun this can be. You have a lot of really cool moves from this position, because you can start with rook to d8, offering an entire rook, and the opponent needs to decide here. Are they going to take or are they going to check? Check being the only one that doesn't lead to an immediate mate, because if they do take this rook, you are able to play bishop to b4 check, and then you're obviously going to be winning this queen, so most people will notice that and drop the queen all the way back. But now you can select between two checkmates, and you can see here, 50% of people will be playing with rook to e8, and I guess that means queen to e4 is even cooler because less people are likely to do it. I don't know if that's how it works, but you have two checkmate in ones if this is the way that the opponent does. And if instead they play queen to c4 here, not going for the rook because they see bishop to b4 is coming in the horizon, you bravely play king to g6, march the king up the board, you don't care about nothing, and then after knight to c3, can you see the move that you're meant to play here with black? It's bishop to b4, pinning this knight and sacrificing this bishop in a way, but making this devious threat of bringing a rook in, while also introducing the idea of bringing another rook to the e8 square, where even if the opponent brings a bishop out, you have ideas of sacrificing for the bishop and giving a checkmate. And that's exactly what you see most commonly. After the queen takes on b4, you can now play rook to e8, rook h to e8, that is, to be more exact. And after the bishop comes out to e3, you take the bishop. Hopefully, I don't want to spoil too much, but I guess I'll just let the database air out. And after they recapture, you have checkmate on d2. And this has actually happened all the way through 16 different times in the database. That's the Elephant Gambit. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you can see when I post more Elephant Gambit videos, and I will see you guys for the next one.